Welcome to this short video on the 2011 Wolf Report. I created this video to help understand the rate of change in the English vocational qualifications market. Education is such a complex system I found the need to focus on just one area, and the Wolf Report covers a really exciting policy area. I've excluded apprenticeships to keep this video compact. This still left plenty of policy to review. I will put the key milestones on a timeline. This is not an assessment of the policy itself. I've started in 2010 with the general election. Michael Gove asked Professor Wolf to undertake a review of vocational education for 14 to 19-year-olds, so that covers key stages 4 and 5. The aim was to use education policy to boost England's capacity to generate growth through manufacturing. Professor Wolf produced her report in 2011. I've grouped the recommendations together and distilled them down into broad themes. Lots of detail is lost. If you're interested in education policy, please do read the full report. The first theme I'll address through the report is the importance of English and maths, with continued study for those who do not have a good pass at GCSE. This is echoed in recommended changes to performance tables and wraparound support like professional development for teachers. Next, a learner should have a programme of study which includes at least one substantial qualification and which offers clear progression into education or into skilled employment. The report stressed the importance of employer involvement, including in the development, assessment and awarding of qualifications. Wolf recommends a number of changes to performance tables and how to use performance tables to shape qualifications, drive behaviour and add detail on the cohort within the centre. This keeps returning to an underlying focus on progression and on employment outcomes. Wolf proposes significant changes to funding. Core to the recommendation is a move to study programmes for all 16 to 18-year-olds on vocational programmes with funding per student. There is a really interesting recommendation that young people should be able to bank unused funding for education at a later date. Significant regulatory changes were proposed, from mutual recognition of teacher qualifications to how Ofqual regulates vocational qualification, with choice for schools to offer any regulated qualification at Key Stage 4. So let's see the levers that get pulled to put this policy into place. In 2011, we have a policy statement on strict new criteria for vocational qualifications in performance tables, and the wheels start turning here. The government launches a consultation on study programmes for 14 to 19-year-olds. Moving on to 2012, a funding formula review is launched and the government released their plans to implement study programmes for 16 to 19-year-olds. 2013 is an intense period. The government launches both the consultation and response on reform to vocational qualifications for 16 to 19-year-olds. Applied generals and tech levels are announced, technical guidance produced, and the list of successful qualifications published alongside existing Key Stage 4 performance table qualifications. The policy paper Rigour and Responsiveness in Skills is published. The first students start on study programmes. A consultation is launched on accountability, and the participation age increased to 17. 2014 is another busy year. The government published their response to the accountability consultation. We have a change of key personnel as Nicky Morgan is appointed Secretary of State for Education. Ofqual lifts the accreditation requirement for vocational qualifications, and we have the first teaching of applied general and tech level qualifications. It's worth noting that some of these qualifications were taught before these performance tables existed. Also, there is a 2-year grace period in which qualifications only have to meet part of the government criteria to be in these performance tables. This is to give awarding opportunities the time to adapt or develop new qualifications. In 2015 there is a general election and the participation age increases to 18. In 2016 we have another change of key personnel with Justine Greening being appointed Secretary of State for Education, and we see the publication of both the Sainsbury Report and the Post-16 Skills Plan, starting a major reform programme for vocational qualification that is out of scope for this piece. Applied generals and tech levels appear in performance tables for the first time under those partial rules called the interim requirements. The legacy format of other Key Stage 4 qualifications in performance tables are retained. In 2017 we have another general election and we see the second time applied generals and tech levels appear in performance tables, but still on those interim requirements. 2 new performance tables are introduced for Level 2 qualifications called Tech Awards and Technical Certificates. The old-style performance table at Key Stage 4 is dropped. We finish our timeline in 2018 with Damien Hines appointed Secretary of State for Education. Applied Generals and Tech Levels meeting the full requirements will appear for the first time, together with those Tech Awards and Tech Certificates. So, in conclusion, to effect policy change, we generally have consultation, response, and then, often, a phased implementation centred around the academic year. The Wolf Report was launched in 2011 and was a central plank of policy until 2016, when the Sainsbury Report was launched, adopted, and took centre stage. We saw the start of study programmes in 2013, and there is data captured by colleges which can be used to see changes in purchasing decisions. We can see learners starting Applied Generals and Tech Levels in 2014, but these courses didn't appear in performance tables until 2016, and few of the 2016 qualifications are in the 2018 performance tables. We'll have to wait for assessment studies to understand the impact over time. So, we started in 2011 and finished in 2018, with lots of significant changes to policy, and with government exercising many powerful policy levers along the way. I hope this has been as useful to you as it was to me in creating the video. It's really helped form and shape my thinking on how the Post-16 skills plan may be implemented and the policy levers that may be used. Please do comment if you can add to the conversation, or indeed help me improve the accuracy of my review. I'd like to say the views expressed in the video are entirely my own and not on behalf of anyone else or any other organisation. And lastly, thank you for your precious time in watching. Much appreciated.